Hey, you guys! It's MJ. How are you? So I was listening to some Fat Freddy's drop this morning and sort of boogieing, actually sort of just stretching, but I've got my little like morning playlist, which is absolutely awesome. I have a great little download for a share today regarding discernment. Hey Jake Daniel, how are you? Yeah, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. bud. I was up at 2:30. So that's just how the cookie crumbles here at my place. You wake up, you're charged, you're ready to go. You're ready to have a bit of a share. And oh my goodness, I kind of can't quite in words contain all of the multi-layered discerning. And I've put distraction as a word because I'm aware that there seems to be. Now, okay, you could use another word for distraction, could just be contrast, sifting through the contrast. Um, Distraction could also be called resistance, and or the resistance in the form of circumstantial evidence which would appear to be in opposition to your desired outcome. You know, you guys get my drift. Distractions are things that sort of pull us away from our centeredness, from our knowingness, from our truth, and thus our desired outcome. The reason I feel it rather necessary to put multi-layered distraction discernment is that I'm experiencing these little loops in my reality where I'm able to like visit certain circumstances again, and like that I'm having this total like, what, wait, and then hence my banging on about emotional field is that I then go like deeper into the emotional field and I'm like, shine light on that, Mo Flow lover. And I'm like, oh, you're just another distraction. That's like another, oh, let's focus on this small thing or this minutia, or let's focus on that just to make yourself feel bad again, or just to make yourself less than. And I'm experiencing it, i.e., very much via the emotional field, because these are interactions happening more at a distance, thank God. If any of you have actually been in violently abusive situations, you'll know what I mean by like when they're more at a distance and you have this like energy dance happening before any kind of true intimacy happens. And I'm talking intimacy just like being in the same room with somebody, which some people would think of that as a little bit different, but I'm like, if I'm sharing airspace in the same room, we're intimate, yo. I missed your comment. Yeah, I'm doing this with my disgust. I explain more. Explain more. Yes. So it's like people. So it's like I'll just be straight up and share an example, sans names, basically. But like someone entering the field and something intuish being like, hit, not sure. But then it all goes along as normal, as a normal interaction would do. And I'm like observing the interact, being like, why am I pulling this in? What's not right? What's uncomfortable here? And then you do a bit of digging, and then new things manifest, and you're like, ah, exactly. See, intuition knew. And then there's like this loop about, and the loop helps us go over like other shit, but like of course it's all connected because it's always comes back to the one self. I'll be so yeah. It loops back in, and then in the next loop, via those two apparently different apparitions or manifestations, you flip it around and then you're just like, oh, I did all of that and none of this is relevant to my personal story and I don't need to do this, that, or that. And actually, you're all just a big fucking distraction from me focusing on my dream life. For me focusing on like what it is that I'm actually creating. So there's my insights for today, you guys. Don't get fucking distracted. Now, I would say really there's like exchanges, okay? So we have like energetic exchanges which feel uplifting, fun, like feelings that I habitually ignore. I'm now making myself look at all that. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and that's the piece with like discernment and like and our ability to just like allow and be present, i.e. that like that shit, that was a juicy nugget, by the way. I'll be responding to that. Yes, and here's the thing, you leaf, is like um people aren't aware. They're so used to denying and like masking and whatevs that we're not aware until we're aware, and then we become aware, and then it would appear we have these layers that are and I would say one and the same. Multi-layered is no different than distraction in essence, and like distraction is resistance. Sweet reflections. Distractions are layers, and they're opportunities for us to look at things from different perspectives and really review them and really view them, like, because I keep coming back to this, like, I'm the full creator. I'm like, do I need to spend time with that, or do I need to da 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 da? And then an energetic resonance or like an energetic feedback will happen, i.e. the feedback loop. And that's hence this like this share today of being like, whoa, because literally one day we might think that's what's happening and this is what's gonna happen, and I'm fucking on it and my mind is crystal fucking clear, and then new information comes in and you're like, whoa, that's not what that is at all, and that's not the truth of my knowing, and that actually you're this blah 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 blah, symbolic of MJ's share today rather than some other thing. That I guess what I'm aware of is just how easily it would appear the human mind gets fully fixated on minutia. Like the smallest things in the world will distract us, and then we become self-important in that distraction, being like, but this is hard, and like we transfer all of like the hardnesses and all of the limitations without even fucking realizing it into this like spiritual revolution, new world, or new world. I don't want to say new world order, because like I'm aware that that's not necessarily what we're all wanting. Do you get what I'm saying, any rabbit hole people? Just new paradigm shift. And it's really actually quite simple. And this is, I'm jumping, by the way. This is like another insight which may or may not be actually relevant to this. But this is like a piece when it comes to staying focused on the manifestation. Desired manifestation, obviously. And i.e. accept that we might have some layers to work through, accept that we might have some unconscious, that when the shit we don't want to manifest, that's our opportunity to be like, well, hello, why are you here? Energy. That's when the emotions come up. That's when that's when the fucking deep shit can really start to happen in the emotional field, when we're owning our unconscious, when we're owning all of our ugliness and all of the like, all of that stuff. And then it will loop us back to our center again. And all of it just loops us back to our center. And it would appear to me like each revolution we go through, each cycle we go through, there's just this deeper clarity, there's like wizard witch-like awareness that is incredible. And yet there's like a few things in all of this. One, I'm really still aware of people powering over one another. Whether it's the topic of conversation, whether it's the amount of qualification one has, whether it's the amount of money one has, whether it's whatever it might be, there are very, very many tactics I observe where people are like trying to prove themselves, right? And this is something this is the depth of like working out all the multi-layered bullshit lie, and then like birthing your desired manifestation to the world. That's the kind of clarity and power in my own kind of research and study in how I understand quantum, how I understand the quantum field in relationship to us as humans on this planet, on an earth that we're all kind of co-creating, we're desiring to co-create. oh, there was a piece about this multi-layer distraction discernment. So here's a little piece to nuggle woggle over in the old mindscape. It's that there is a, okay, this kind of fars us out. This is not about burying head in sand. This is not about not feeling envy. No. You see? So true. No. There is a problem, and you're going to pay attention to me via this problem because I'm getting attention. Because of blah, 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 blah. And or yeah, exactly. And in like all the well-being stuff, it's like, are you super blah blah blah? And you're right? And you're like, well, I didn't realize it until you told me I was, so I guess I'm gonna have to okay, wait. Multi-layer distraction. Oh, okay, so this is a piece that's come in a few times, but it really is quite liberating sometimes, especially when I'm like in one of those like hardcore discerning and essentially making peace on earth and new paradigm manifest. So I'm like, I said manifest like it was a short form word, but it was actually a full word. So yeah, if I get too bogged down with like, but how does this relate to fucking new earth paradigm on planet earth and all of this? And then I break free and I go, that's a distraction, my MJ. That's you thinking the world is outside of you again. Oh, shit, right. And I'm like, so what's the dealio? Like, what is actually happening here? So this is another thing to like brew with, is that there is not one earth. Like, all there is our individuated visions of our experience ever. Whether in these bodies, whether like floating around in the ether, whether in this etheric body people call ghosts, whether flying a spaceship down Orion, or walking around like an elf on a planet far, far away, or just being like this little piece of light that's kind of like floating around in this infinite cosmic reality. So there's no one Earth. Thus, all of the fear-mongering around like climate change, overpopulation, war. Now this is something to point out and be aware of. Me saying this doesn't negate the pain, dysfunction, oppression, and all the bullshit on low-level frequencies happening in this collective, co-creative experience. That's not denying that. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I would say and also I'm like there's those binary aspects to look at, right? And everything is in perfect harmony in the truth. In the truth, I would say, of the total oneness experience, all is in perfect harmony, because how could it not be? Otherwise, all the planets would be like, what's happening? Except no, they know how to orbit, and there's this perfect magnetic electric thing happening, right? So everything is in perfect order. It's only our like little mind distraction. And flip to that other comment about noticing in other people, even other people are our distraction. Oh, I should be helping them, or they should be helping me, or they should be telling me what to do, and it's all in the words, and like we can't use these words anymore, and blah 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 blah. Yes. Okay, there. Really simple. Ego is mind distracted. Ego is a deflection of truth. And it's either better or worse, higher, lower, superior, inferior, right? Division. It's born of divisiveness. And whether it's a massaging of the ego or a triggering your shittiness, both polarities are bullshit, basically. And then the centeredness, i.e. the totality, the heart field. The heart field is what vibrates the totality, which is in the service of the whole, which is in like, oh yeah, that's correct, right? And then that allows us to quantum manifest via just getting distracted in bullshit and maybe manifesting this, but and also I sometimes feel that there's like this sort of simplified version of manifestation, but it's looping itself in a kind of a world of separation. Does that make sense to you guys? So like, there's stuff going on in law of attraction manifestation where I was like, let's be happy, and I'm like, something's not right there. Something's not being authentic. You're just using manifestation and privilege to control people and build some more business to still run away from the depth of your pain. Hi, empath. So it's like noticing all of those things and just, I'm just here to show up basically, because I sometimes have cool thoughts in my little world, and this is like the truth, legit. It's like I just live in my own little world. It's not like, and this is the realization of when veils come off about chasing anything external. It's not, no one's world out there is joyful. It's all like a lie. All of the kind of glamour of like thinking money and all this shit's gonna make you happy ain't. Law of attraction is collective gift. Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, and it's an awakening of our inherent power, which we already know. And I would say, and again, like anything we create, there's a polarity. So there's a like a light side and probably a dark side to it all. And so this would go into like law of attraction bypassing more of our bullshit, denying more of our bullshit. Using these profound, deep, and beautiful teachings to just power over people and deflect people from the truth of where their power is, i.e., by my program. Exactly. By my program, I've got the quick, you can manifest 6 figures in 21 days. Not that I'm denouncing that people can do that and have done that and will continue to do that, but there's still a tactical plug to manifest something, right? Rather than, which is my thing here with all of this, is like Jesus vibes. I'm like, I want to show up to the party and be like, guys, here's your 500 fish. Boom. And like, or money, manifest it like that rather than and give it away. Because the truth of our being is that we don't need that fundamentally to exist. It's not money that makes the world go round, y'all. It's something far greater. Hey, my sky's 5D, what up? Exactly, Jake Daniel. This is that's what I'm working with as well, as far as like outworking. Well, in fact, y'all, you guys, I would then, this was part of like my desire of like publishing the book, was the piece that I felt like so many law of attraction people were kind of avoiding. It's like, just feel good and think positive. I'm like, I've got a lot of feelings. And like when I'm just sitting with certain feelings, so I'm like meditation and spirituality and power of now, Eckhart Tolle, like being in the presence field. And then I'm like, whoa, holy shit, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's like waves, whoo, waves coming up in the emotional field. Holy shit, there seems to be more. I'm just processing and sitting anger. Like all of these feelings, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And then you go into field of studies of epigenetics. And again, studying the quantum field, when you expand the mind and take in 1, cosmic origins, but then 2, just reincarnation grid, and 3, personal karma, and the fact that we just know scientifically we actually carry the cells, the genes, the genetic makeup of our parentage. So that's my parents, however far that goes back, right? So no wonder some of us are acting out these patterns and these programs going, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah, you're destined to do that, my friend, until we awaken to the presence field and go, and hence expand our mind to have a deeper and more cohesive, comprehensive understanding of what the emotional field is. The emotional field is a patterned, it's like a blueprint, and it's going to keep acting it out until you fucking shine light on that blueprint and go, yes! And then remake it up. So like I'm making up all this new stories around relationships, around love, around my body, around my physicality, around life and death, around like literally shape-shifting my reality into something completely different. And now, and slowly but surely it makes manifest, and I could change that even quickly. Everything in my world makes manifest really quickly. But closing the gap, as Abraham Hicks talks about, and actually having the discipline and discernment and all of this stuff to do this has been so much deeper, more profound. And I'm surprised at how many people are like, just shut up. Just be positive. Go back to teaching yoga. You're more comfortable like that. And I'm like, guys. But then be thinking positive is a little bit of a kind of fluffier, more systematized undertaking than owning the fullness of your emotional power, right? And then that's again systematically what's been denied, because it ain't pretty. Sitting and crying for 5 hours isn't something most people are like, wow, or like worse, not even just crying, but like, God, this last few years, some of the emotional storms have been like really, really, hence alchemy, that pressurized feeling of transformation where I'm like, yeah, some of the weird emotional kind of shit that's come out of my beingness in just processing depth and a voidal kind of light-filled awareness, where I manifest these light beings around me to help me out, because in that moment I'm like, am I gonna die? I'm not sure, because I'm facing something that I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna rise out of. And like, you do, every time you plummet to that divine mystery, the pure dark void of existence itself, there's like this light. That's one of my experiences. That's why I want to share it with y'all, because I'm like, guys, if you just keep sitting with your emotional field, they're like, you just plummet. This is all this selling it to you, plummet, and then and then there's nothing, and then there's just this like peace. And yeah, you might be crying, you might be storming, you might be something, but then there's this like knowing of the oneness factor, right? Which is pretty much what keeps us going. And then we're just headed and are in a very big shift when it comes to how we understand manifestation in these bodies, on this planet, in this earth realm. As a co-creative experience, we're up leveling. It's been, some of you might resonate with this, but fuck, it's about time. And it's happening on various levels, and we keep feedbacking. So all of our encounters now are becoming a little bit more, in a positive way, more intensified, to keep shining back, so we keep leveling up, so we keep harnessing our gifts, right? No. I am. It's like, I only listen to the self. I watch like fluff. So if I need to like just chill, like a kind of normal human, you could say, I'll watch like Friends repeats, or like, I guess you could say trash. Stuff where I watch it sometimes just to be like, wow, the programming, how Friends literally programmed a whole generation to show up in the world, basically. This is like this on this community now, really. So I shut that off, but like, I don't, other than like maybe 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here, I might watch like abandoned cities in the world on YouTube, or yeah, the external. So the way I feel into this in my own journey and how I'm preferring to show up for myself is like, just my reality is my feedback. So my whole entire reality is me reflecting myself back to me. And so there's an element in my personal story where I'm like, I'm not seeking external information anymore to kind of help me uncover or help me delayer. For me right now, my entire physical reality is more than enough. In essence, external information, because there's an intuitive, like the infinite intelligence vibes, there's an intuitive awareness of various teachings on different levels, and I'm also aware of how they get compartmentalized and often structured as a process, and there's still domination and control going on. At the same time, every single one of us has a function. Hence, non-judgment and just mutual sovereignty respect is that each one of us has a function, and like only the individual aspect can work that out for oneself. For me, there's no definitive, rigid sense of any kind of knowing. It's just flow, i.e. showing up today based on literally an experience within the last 24 hours, which flipped something else around for me to be like, oh my word, like, we don't know until we know. And then that makes me think about whatever that comment was about perception. What's perceiving will never be perceived. We'll never know it. No, and yet the experience is tangible in the infinite void. This is what I mean about, we have the fact that we're saying this is a perception of it in and of itself. The fact that we're aware that there's a polarity in our experience, there's a or multidimensionality in our experience, is the expanding self becoming aware of itself, which many teachers and people have said before, that this whole experience is just like the universe awakening to its own universe, to its own self, to its own creatorship. Hence why we teach ourselves so brutally, because there's such responsibility in it. Like, i.e., distraction, discernment, because people often, we have such a way of thinking, and then we're actually like, we don't realize that we're putting that way of thinking on this experience, but then we have these delayering things that have to happen to show us like, oh my god, that's just another distraction. I'm beginning also, it's like one of these things of like, other people's mish is not my mish is my mish, and there are people's other mish, and like not letting other people feel bad, and like taking all the teachings. I'm looking at your comment. I think we're mostly transform inner awareness. 100%. This is the crux of where we all get distracted oftentimes, is thinking it's the external, and it never is. It's not at all, because the external is what's flowing off of the back. And if anything, hence all this emotional stuff, I'm like, guys, clear out the density, clear out the energy patterns, sit with the shit as long as you need to, and watch life transform. The biggest thing as well, though, living intuitively or merged with the like authentic self or whatever, it's that we do have to keep having the courage to keep taking those leaps, because we have to make changes on the physical, which more and more people are like, what are you doing? It makes no sense. And you're like, intuition's guiding me. Because you're not living from that set point. You're living from the inner. You're living from the merged with the inner. And so the life accelerated unfolding is very exhilarated, very in the flow, but at the same time very luxurious, very comforting, very supported, because the divine from within is always, that's my main support. Yeah, that 100%. Always in unity with the self. Hence, me permissioning myself and all y'all, whenever you feel like it, to withdraw, to isolate in a kind of self-nurturing way. You know, you guys probably get me as far as like sometimes sitting with like, is this okay, or is da-da-da-da, but hence why we express, why we reach out, why we have more and more people in various communities in various ways to help one another out, right? So yeah, it's all just one. We're working stuff out. There would appear to be a collective story around shifting karmic backlog, owning and transforming the depth of our power, because we've been living in limitation for so long. The depth of our emotional field is just a little bit bigger and deeper than a lot of people, I would say, initially want to access, like want to as a choice, right? Because it's all a choice. And then each plummeting, you could say, each time we fall to the depth of our fiery darkness, we can choose to go, woe is me, I'm a victim and this sucks and it hurts, or just to rise from the ashes like a golden phoenix and be like, I am alive. Devil, get thee behind me. And I said that in one of the other shares, didn't I? Devil, get thee behind me. In all of those experiences, in each and every one, we can perpetually be choosing. I watched a video about that. I think it was a Teal Swan video about like how really Christ consciousness is simply the chooser. So if you look at like 3D matrix reality, unconscious, those of us just programmed, let's just regurgitate and be what was I saying? Be a victim of circumstance. So the world is outside me, I'm a victim of circumstance. Therefore, obviously, I'm not a chooser, am I? How could I be a chooser if everything outside of me is, oh, what's the point? Right? Victimhood. Not being able to choose. So rise that shit up. Rise it up. Going into 40, be like, what's happening? I'm feeling all this stuff. I'm pretty sure we're all connected. Boom. 5D reality is like, holy shit, I'm the chooser. I'm the creator. And so the amount of responsibility that we ask of ourselves, again, unique to everybody. I just know that I give myself quite a few heavy-handed little slap downs to keep my ego in check. And that will probably continue because I have no desire to be an egomaniac, lorder over of shit and or a kind of guru. This is the thing about finding the life that you love. It's that it's still the self. It's still the self. Because you're the one having the experience. So the I is the you. And there's no, and the voidal reality is just the depth of your own, like, plunging into a void of nothingness. Because that is, you're still and always be exactly self-imagined. And this is point of, when you talk about cosmic origins, and I have a tutorial about this in Spirituality Simplified, but when you trace yourself right back to, like, the birthing point, you chose it. You chose to make manifest the light in the darkness. And here we are, and we just continue to choose. And it's an awfully fantastic reality. It's an awfully diverse and contrasting and ride-like reality that is like a gift. It's like a serious honor to be here. It's just that via the endeavoring our own separation, consciousness, and darkness, it's quite a road to come back into unity. It's quite an endeavor, it would appear. And yet, I'm pretty sure this is what we're all endeavoring, and this is what we're really on the cusp of creating as far as a mass awakening and a kind of critical mass tipping point where enough of us are, like, woke enough to be like, oh, let's just leave now. Let's just set up shop over here where more of us can get along again, because it's like there's this very real sense in my personal experience, and has been for a few years now, of like, I don't want anything from that world. It's not like I would say most of us, when you get to the heart of it, I'm like, you know, you got some food, you got clean water, you got a nice house and roof over your head, like, which is easy to clean. You know, I'm like, who needs all of the other stuff, like the bling, really, when a thirst is awakened, I'm like, you just don't. That's not true. I mean, we're still material people at the end of the day. There's a desire for beauty. There's a desire for beauty, but there's no desire for just this endless consumption trail that leads to nowhere, but your rings are supposed to get bigger, or your cars are supposed to get bigger. I'm like, what? Who needs it? It's just tiring, right? So that energy of entitlement and privilege, I think, is being stamped out across the collective, addressed, highlighted, and stamped out. Once we start to see that a lot of our consumption in fashion and jewelry and food, for that matter, it's kind of all corrupted underneath these veils. So awakening is kind of a bumpy road, right? But at the same time, I think it's getting easier because there's more of us just, like, talking about it in our uniqueness. As in, just, i.e., this is part of my, I guess, my promise to you guys, but I feedback more off of my interactions and, again, my personal reality, but I'm not regurgitating anything. Yeah, escaping to me is like another element of denial. If we're in escaping patterns, there's deep denial. All of us have deep denial. Like, fuck, man, I was in escape patterns, not even realizing I was in them until some more heavy shit went down and then showed me, like, girlfriend, stop running, and I'm like, ugh! Ugh! And then we have to outwork it. Hence, not denying anything, not escaping anything. Be present with your field. Being present with the field is being at one, light of the awareness, shining light into all the emotions that you feel, that's okay, it's all part of the juice of life, all of the emotions you feel, and then all of the thoughts that you're thinking in alignment with those emotions. Be present with the field of energy, and then in that field, then you can maybe pick up on, like, oh, yeah, totally denying that, or, ooh, what's that? I never felt that before. Oh. And this is the thing as well, like, with emotion, I'm like, there is some funky shit. Like, there are sometimes waves of emotions that move through me that I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, I've never felt that before. And it's fun, and as well, because when you know we're all having a unique experience, and hey, Piskim, what up, my friend? yeah, we're all having a totally unique experience, and so we're just here to reflect that back to one another and like work it out. Work it out in the mindscape of how to keep choosing higher vibe thoughts. And this is where I'm taking the leap. In the last share was surrender. It was like full on surrender point here now for me. This is a huge title turn in all of it, and even right to this share today where I'm like seeing this distraction and I'm like thank God, because my people pleasing tendencies are now finally like uprooted. I can see them, and I can see these binary kind of feedback loops that I'm in with certain encounters, and I'm just finally ready to be like, oh, we're done, but thank you so much, and like you're amazing, and go live your life and go be free, because it's fucking taken me quite a while and a lot of intensity to get to this point. So the awareness of not going back to certain energetic exchanges is what's important to me, and I'm realizing that boy oh boy, the systematic upbringing and or this idea of imbalance and domination and getting what we want and control and blah 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 is heavy-handed when it comes to this stuff, working it all out. Is that everybody, what I see in all these different realities or projected realities are people who are racing to get ahead, whether it's in spirituality, whether it's in consciousness, whether it's in bringing down the system, whether it's in freeing the people, that there's all of this, but we still lace that energy with control, with being ahead of the race. It is cool though, right? It's all cool and it's all fun. And so for me, where I'm at in my personal reality is that like all of that now I'm like, oh, I don't need to do any of that. I don't need to save the world. I don't need to like fight the system. I don't need to bring down corrupted governments. Like it's all already done. And like the distraction for me was thinking that I had to like loop these different people and that these people were going to help these people, and like I'm organizing the fucking mass revolution. And then a few little interactions and I was like, oh Molly, that's not your job. You just focus on how you want to live and how you want to feel and da da da. And I'm like, back to the present moment to you. And then straight up when it comes to exchange, being like, I don't want that exchange in my life. I don't desire that level of exchange. That's too much hard work. That feels like an attack. This we're done with. Ding da da da. And then be the chooser and then keep choosing. And so I'm just now at that next level point of being like, I'm excited to see, because I'm pretty sure there's just been a whole bunch of clear out. Not I'm pretty sure, like I know for damn sure. Just be, right? Most, and again, the emotional ones get that, as far as like we just get at these points of like I literally cannot fucking do anymore. I am what I am. It's like, and there's been so many veils. It's impossible. It's impossible to like go back, because there's no back, right? Conformational. Yes, dude. Conformational? Conformational feels like you're being like, you're trying to force me to be like you. I don't want to conform. Versus confirm. Am I correct? Is this correct English, yo? So there's an element, by the way, this is going to keep coming more to light with regards to language and transforming the language, because straight up, this is, by the way, I'm now going off, but it's kind of connected to this as distraction. All of this like corruption and systematic enslavement shit, it's deep. Again, multi-layered. It's not just one emotional healing. We probably have like 50,000. But what it can root us into is, okay, yeah, satanic rituals and really deep, ugly shit. But two is the fact that the entire paradigm, old paradigm as it were, is like rooted in corrupted language. Y'all could say that when we're just like talking and shooting the shit, we're spelling a whole bunch of bullshit. We're creating a whole bunch of crap, because it's like the language is like interwoven with the dark forces. Okay, so this is just me explaining something. So my awareness at this point though is like, as long as you're connected to the emotional field, i.e. the energy. So let's just all detach from words as truth. Words are not truth. Words are creative tools for creation, or yeah. And all one can do for oneself is to be very aware of like the energies and the intention of the words you're using. And as I say it like this, I'm very aware of, MJ, you could afford to slow down a little, sweetie. And then that might be some useful advice one takes from oneself, right? But more and more will come up, and I'm aware of it being something to highlight in how we operate, that yeah, it is good for us to be more mindful of the language we use. Dude, that's like most shares though, isn't it? But I'm also aware of where one could be disconnected from 4D, 5D energetically, and then fixated on this as a problem that I need to work it out, a grandiosity ego issue, that I need to work out this singular problem. And I'm like, we could actually sidestep outworking the linguistics of the system and simply rise into the new, right? Do you guys feel me on that? It is Jake Daniel, but for rizzles, manizzles. I'm like, this is like this last little belt, like I'm talking like the last 2 days or 24 hours, is like somebody reflecting back, and I just went, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I know this. And I'm like, I don't need to tolerate that. I don't need to tolerate someone in my realm being like, well, you're da-da-da. And I'm like, You know what I am saying, you guys? It's like, come on, if we can just lift the vibrashe, if we can just live the new and catch subtleties and disparity when it comes to language and vibrashe. This is what we're speaking into existence. How does it feel? Does it feel good? Does it feel in love? Does it feel harmonious? Does it feel non-controlly and systematized? Then we're good to go. If it starts to be like, what are you saying? What are you saying to me? Distraction! 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 You know what I'm saying? I could really use a back rub maid, to be honest. Just not a back rub maid. I'm not going into this right now, you guys. There is nothing wrong with that. Tech Victor, where would we be if people weren't doing that all the time, everywhere? And yet, if us sharing, this is just my point of view, if me like sharing is starting to confuse, or if people are suddenly like, I have literally had people go like this, like to me, as in that's their reaction to me entering a room, just like walking in, they go and that was right after a healing, and I was just like, what the fuck is that all about? And they're like, you should probably leave, I don't think he's in a very good space. So I did. Anyway, that was a little bit of an ego share. Yes. So yeah, we can share as much as we like. Just if our sharing is then triggering people into negativity, it's like, I gotta leave that situation, obvi. Just like sometimes I know, and it's closing down these chats. I love these chats, by the way. Yes, it's 4 a.m, but this was a heavy surrender from yesterday, and then this one came up pretty clear for me out of my flow yesterday, and like stuff that comes up for me is I'm like, wow, other people's world is not my responsibility. That is all the system bullshit that we want, that we're breaking free from, is like anyone making me think I'm like them because, or this is why, and it's because this. And if it doesn't res, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Just like what I say doesn't res with a lot of people, and that's fine. I'm not going around being like, guys, my mission is the only mission. That's not what it's like. Where on the planet are you again? I live in a quiet mountain town. No, I don't. Oh my god, you guys. I am absolutely insane this morning. Cheers. Look, also, just to reflect, I didn't make it. so excited. I am actually going to go now, but I live in the UK. I don't live in a small mountain town. I do live in a coastal area where, as part of my new life, I'm going to go surfing more. I went for a walk with my friend yesterday. We went for a coastal, like a 35-minute, maybe 40 minutes at a push, a little coastal loop walk. That was fun. It reminded me as well. I'm like, Molly, you need to get outside more. But I tend to like nature spots. I find I get pretty being in a city after a while. But yeah, the UK. Hey, Aaron! I believe that's a nice expression. The irony and like straight up, this is all like part of sharing this stuff, right? Is like the increased sense, yes, 100%. This increased sense of unity is then perpetually reflecting stuff back, which is creating this paradox. But do you know what? I'm just getting this now. Thank you for sharing that. This is a really nice piece when we talk about closing the gap, living in alignment, living in our godly state, living in our creatorship state. What we've healed is the conflict, and what we've born is a paradox. So to me, paradox is a more harmonious way of looking at the great mystery of life, rather than disconnecting, creating conflict, and being like, we're all separate, it's all scary. Wait, unify that. So there's no conflict anymore. It's just the truth. And the truth is paradoxical in as far as we are the everything and the nothing. And yeah, birthing and living in unity is like a monumental thing, and yet I don't want the other. I'm not here for the other. I'm here for this, guys. A little bit of unity dance. I think that's it. Hey, Christian Guerra. Thank you. See, and this is what I have to be super aware of, is being like loving the adulation, but then like being triggered by, you know, whatever the other is. Although I've not been attracting as much as of the other. I think we're locking in some good, we're locking in some good flow. Some good energy flow here, people. I did. I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. I love the way we're starting to think about this stuff in like a next level, if that makes sense, right? Because in simply my own life, the Galactic Fed should invite us to one of their parties. Hells yes, Tick Victor. I hang with the Galactics. Do you guys? Oh, fantastic. Ugh. Now you guys are reflecting back the fact that like we have these gifts that are coming online now more and more. Hence like these, even just these fun light shares are really born out of this very profound and deep reflective space within me. And shedding this, I feel excited today because of this realization of yesterday of like, it's like the final threads of my lifelong people pleaser, empathic desire to just make it all great for everybody. And then I'm suddenly free. I'm suddenly free from like, that person, that's not my job, and they don't have the power to make me feel bad about myself, and that person is like they're gonna have to figure it out and create their own reality, and so I'm like, oh, we all just gotta figure it out for ourselves. But you guys, straight up, you guys are reflecting back some positive momentum, which after many years of withdrawal and isolation, and actually realizing that you've been in fairly abusive situations with like narcissistic type folk, you're like, it's bloody brilliant to be free from that. Even if it is just my own little world, right? And that's the thing of like, but that is, I would say, a crux and a beautiful place to come to if you are manifesting in truth a more desired reality, is to inch your way there It's the classic, right? Hence this big shift, this forward movement break. I swear to God, there's a whole bunch of empaths suddenly seeing it and breaking free from it, right? See? 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 And then we're shining it. We're like, we know what this is. We're aware. We're disentangling, cutting cords, blah, 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 running free, free, free. And then attracting more empathic, lovely people, like kind people. How nice is that? Hey there! Stephen Helms, welcome. It's like our discernment is just getting better. And then the distraction of like, and I have so much compassion that I literally, it's like seeing it all from this level. I'm like, wow, how did I not see this before? As in, I don't, it's like you can step back from people's reality and just go, you're in dominion of your reality. You're connected to source, just like all of us. And if you ain't, then you don't belong here anyway. I.e. like AIs or, I don't know, like the different fractals of our own fractaledness running around as soulless creatures. I'm like, if that's real, then I'm not inviting that in. So my reality is more just unfolding out of this really quite peaceful. And it's something I never imagined. As soon as I got bombarded by fucking media programming for a lot of my life, I really did think, I really, really did believe that I wanted certain things. And I could honestly say after many, many breakdowns that I'm like, oh, I don't want any of that. Like literally super peace and happiness of just like sharing and like going for walks. Way maybe video. Actually, that's a lie because today I was listening to my music in the morning time and it kind of got me all juiced up. And I was like, I started to look at like nightclubs and what's happening in Exeter, which is like a town an hour away because again, I live in a really small little area, which I would never go out in because I know too many people that I don't want to see. What are your astral travels like? They're good. I'm not a I don't really talk about this stuff because just cuz I guess it's not like my point of attraction and it's definitely not any kind of field of expertise. My awareness, I would say, is much more anchored in like physical presence, body here now, at body work, i.e. the yoga, meditation, all the dancing for years, and like the intuition guidance and actual body transformation. However, this is the, again, a paradox is like, it's very in the here now presence and astral realm. I kind of connect to cosmic reality. Hey, Saunton Sands. Wait, did I miss something? Pardon me. Hey. Oh, Saunton Sands is just a local hotel on the beach. Hey, oh, right. And then Exeter is like a town fairly close, and I was just looking at like, oh, I wonder if there's any gigs or any, I don't know, because I'm suddenly, although let's be honest, I wake up at 3 a.m. Like I'm gonna be fucking asleep by 7 o'clock tonight. But I'm glad that at this fine hour I'm looking at, it's because I have to become, not have to, desire, yeah, a little bit more social. Also because my life has ramped up and I gotta say, like, every day life is, even though there's like downturns, life is pretty sweet. I used to hate myself a lot, and so like the fact that life is pretty good and that like I make money doing what I love and there's no real pressure and I don't have to like bend to people, and like, you know, working from home is pretty sweet when you're an empath because like most socially driven environments are hardcore exhausting and triggery after a while. So this lifestyle has like born a joyful essence, and now I'm ready to kind of get out there again. I can't do what you've done on your, or you're just waving, I can't tell. Or there's this, but I also don't know what this is. It's a Star Trek thing, right? Okay, you guys, it's almost 55 minutes. I love these sessions, by the way. Yeah! Hell yeah! You guys can donate to the channel if you want to, or just keep showing up on these live. I seem to be waking up about 3 or 4 in the morning and wanting to go live. I feel also called to sometimes do shares where I'm just in the moment but unlisted so that I can stay focused, because this is a bit of banter and you guys just egg me on when you laugh at me and confirmation. Is that correct, right? Is that love your face? Love hot vibrashe. Oh, by the way, I've deleted my Facebook app, so I'm not sure when I'll be back on Facebook. I've deleted Messenger as well, so those of you who have got me on WhatsApp, luckies. And then, so email and WhatsApp, yo. Facebook Messenger, I gotta be done, and I have a feeling even Instagram, I'm a bit like, ugh, I'm just bored of it all. Cheers for the interaction, you guys. Love you loads. Love hot vibrashe, virtual hugs, all that juice. Have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. I appreciate you. Love you loads, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace out, mofo lover. Oh yeah, moflo. I don't use cuss